Welcome to the 6 Miles to Supper podcast. I'm your host, Kayla Cox, and I've lost over 80 pounds with intermittent fasting 6 days a week, eating whatever I wanted at my meals, taking a cheat day every Sunday, and walking 6 miles a day. And I'm here to help you on your weight loss journey. In today's episode, I'm interviewing Tamar. She's lost 20 pounds with intermittent fasting, and she's kept the weight off for a year. The interview you're about to hear was recorded via Zoom, so the audio will be a little bit different than what you're used to, but I hope you enjoy it. And if you consider yourself to be a success story and you would like to share your story on this podcast or on my YouTube channel, please reach out via the Google form that is in the show notes. Enjoy the show. So, Tamar, thank you for being here and for sharing your story. Why don't you just give people a little introduction? Who are you and what do you do?
Right now, I'm completing my PhD in chemistry. I'm actually sitting in the office so you can see the periodic table behind me.
That's awesome.
Besides that, I don't know. I'm 31. Yes, that's about it. I don't have kids. I'm not yet married. I live with my boyfriend though.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't you give us a rundown of how you've found success with weight loss? How much have you lost? How long did it take? And what did you do?
In total, I lost 20 pounds. I actually didn't have that much to lose. I think my highest weight was, we used the metric system. So it was 80 kilos. It's roughly times 2,000 pounds. And I think and I'm quite tall. So my BMI was like a little over 25. So it was pretty close to a normal BMI. So I basically didn't want to lose more than 20 to 25 pounds up. And I think it took almost a year actually, which is pretty surprising. But I think it's just because it's like the hardest 20 pounds to lose, basically. I think even people that, like you said on your channel that your last, 17 pounds or something to keep basically a year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that really helped me change my mindset about how long I wanted to take. I basically didn't have a time limit. Yeah, so it took almost a year, but there were a few phases, and I think my first few months were, it took me time to find what actually works for me. So the years includes all the mistakes and stalls that I had on the way. But yeah, it was basically a year in total.
And so when you were losing weight, what you were doing intermittent fasting, what did that look like specifically? What was your window? What were you eating during that time?
Yeah, so first of all, I still do intermittent fasting, during maintenance. Now, I've probably maintained over a year now. So that kind of changed a few times. I think in the beginning, I don't want to go into too much detail, but so in the very beginning, I was basically used to this eating 5, 6, 7 meals a day. I think also I think what mainly bothered me was also that I felt that I had a bad relationship with food. Mm-hmm. I really struggled with emotional eating, and I don't think I was properly it was not what you would properly diagnose as a binge eating disorder, but basically once a week I would binge, and it was an enormous amount of food, and but I didn't look severely overweight or anything, so I don't think it was something anyone was aware of besides me. Mm-hmm. So I was basically looking for methods to improve that. That was pretty important for me, besides losing the weight, which was a result of me once a week. So I think I found your channel, and I found other channels that were talking about that, and I thought this might actually work for me. So I jumped into 16/8, and in the beginning, I think I tried it for 2 weeks. But it was at that point, I was I think breakfast was I would wake up in the morning, and the first thing I would do was eat breakfast. So that was too hard for me. And I also felt it was even triggering my binging even more. Mm-hmm. So after 2 weeks, I basically decided, okay, this is not working. And then to celebrate that, I had a very big breakfast. And it was so big that I was basically full until the next day. And then that's how I thought, okay, maybe 1 meal a day in the morning would actually work for me, because I was just really hungry in the morning back then. So I think for the first month, actually, what I did was 1 meal a day in the morning. Mm-hmm. And that worked really well. So for the first time in a few years, the scale went downwards instead of like steadily going upwards. And I think so it worked well in the beginning. Like I think I lost like 5 or 6 pounds in the first month. And then I hit a stall, which I think partly was a natural stall, but partly also I think after a month, I tried to start moving the meal from the morning because like for me it was very convenient to have it in the morning, but actually socially it was kind of it was hard because like my coworkers started to notice that I wasn't having lunch with them, and then they started to like tell me, "Oh, you stopped eating," blah blah. And I was eating actually a lot. Like I think the first few months was the only one that I was actually tracking calories just to make sure I was eating enough. And
Mm-hmm.
every day I was like eating over than 2,000 calories. So I mean, I just wanted to make sure I'm not eating less than 1,500 or something, and I was always going above 2,000. So I was eating a lot, but they were not seeing me eat. So they started to like ask me about that. And whenever I had social interactions in the evening, so basically, I think then I probably stalled for 2 or 3 months because I was not being consistent anymore with the one meal a day. So after those few months, I was like, okay, I want to get back to losing weight. And I think for the first time in my life, I decided I took your advice, and instead of trying to make things harder on myself, I decided to make things easier. I was like, by that point, it was actually from like as opposed to the beginning when I tried to jump right into intermittent fasting, then fasting for 16 hours was easy for me at that point. So I decided to go back to 16 hours, which I could consistently do. And then from that point, I gradually took the hours up, and I went up to like I basically went up to OMAD. But then again, I think after and then I started to really lose the weight consistently and steadily. It was yeah, I mean it was still very slow weight loss, but like I think I even took what you said a step further of tracking your weekly average. So I tracked my monthly average actually because only then I could really see the steady weight loss. And I mean the goal I set myself was to lose 2 pounds a month, which is 1 kilo per month. And actually when I was steadily increasing my hours of fasting, I think I lost 3 pounds a month, which is like 1.5 kilograms. So that worked well. And then after a while, actually, I think when I reached 22 or 23 hours of fasting, then I don't know. I think by then my stomach like shrunk or something, and I couldn't eat like very big meals without feeling like I have to shove food. So then I started to gradually like decrease my fasting window again. And I gradually decreased it, whereas now in maintenance, I'm fasting for like 18 hours. I guess somewhere between 17 to 18. So I went up to 22, and then I gradually decreased it. And now in maintenance, I'm fasting 17 to 18 hours not every day, 5 times a day.
What kind of foods are you eating? Do you have any kind of special food rules, or do you just eat what you like?
So I basically eat whatever I like. I mean, after I lost, I think originally I was, my original goal was to lose 25 pounds. And then basically I think I reached my set weight at like my current weight, which is, I don't know how much it is in pounds, but it's 71 kilos. But, so I mean, after that, I just stopped losing weight. And like ever since, I mean, obviously it's still fluctuating. Like by now, even the monthly average is fluctuating, but like not that much. So I think at that point I was considering maybe trying to reduce carbs from my diet, but I don't know, it's just not really sustainable for me. So basically I eat what I want. I mean, I think generally I like healthy food, but I don't know. I can also eat like I don't know, it depends. I think in the beginning maybe I was eating more junk food.
So, what's your daily routine like? Do you have anything that you do every single day, or like what does that look like for you?
So I think my answer probably would have been different more than half a year ago because like COVID kind of messed that up. I mean, right now I'm actually in my office, so I mean, I am kind of working daily, but it depends. The guidelines change every month, and
Mhm.
we had quarantine in the beginning, so I think now my daily routine is a bit messed up. But in normal times, usually wake up in the morning. Uh, I right now I drink coffee, and then I go to work. Like I work in a lab, and then I come back in the evening. I mean, it's kind of like work.
And so you don't have any kind of like exercise that you do every day or anything like that?
Yeah, so that also, I mean, kind of now I'm trying to find, there wasn't any constant. I mean, I think in the beginning I was a lot more adamant about walking.
Mhm.
I mean, before I even started this, I did more heavy exercise, I guess, there, but I don't know. I think now actually I try to do once or twice a week. I have a Pilates Zoom class. But besides that, I think I'm still looking for something. I mean, again, COVID kind of messed that up, but I did actually look at my. I mean, so the app that I log my weight on, then it also measures my steps. So I mean, you can tell that like more than 6 months ago, my monthly average was like 10K, and now like it's steadily decreasing. But yeah, I mean, when I was losing weight, I was actually pretty adamant on like keeping track of my steps, and I was trying to like increase them. But
Mhm.
now I have to say that I don't know if it's the maintenance or just the whole atmosphere in the world right now. Like exercise is not very doesn't necessarily happen every day.
Mhm. So, what about give us a little backstory on your weight? Like, has the 20 pounds that you lost, was it something that you kind of always had around, or was it something more recently, like in adulthood?
I think it's something I probably struggled with. I mean, as a kid, I was very active and skinny, and then I think probably starting from adolescence, I started to have issues with food. Like in the beginning, it was like the other like I was like I mean it's weird for me to talk about it, but like I had anorexia when I was like in 7th grade, and then afterwards like I didn't properly. I mean I never went to any treatment for it, so I think it was for a year or something, and then afterwards I think I just went to the other extreme.
Mm.
Like I think that's basically what triggered like me having these like binges. And
Mhm.
I remember even like it's kind of like weird because I mean you don't really have a good recollection of this after the fact because I mean it can sometimes I mean I think people that have it can probably identify, but like when you're inside this like binge and you kind of feel like you're possessed by something else. And it's weird. So and then so I don't have a good recollection, but for sure I had that issue growing up, and I think also that's when I started to turn to food for like as a pacifier for emotional needs. And I think I remember like even in 10th grade, like there was this boy who didn't like me, and then within probably a month I gained 20 pounds
Mm.
because I was like miserable about that. So I think ever since it was the same like 20 pounds that I gained when I was miserable, then I lost when I was happy. But I think what changed, and then like for a while it got better, but then it started again after I broke up with my ex. But I think what actually changed was that as opposed to before where I was just always gain and lose them, like this time they were like here to stay. And
Mhm.
I don't know if it was like an age thing or something, even though I'm still young, but like I gained them and then like I was just not able to lose them. Like for the first time, never happened to me before. Like I was not able to lose them, and I even just like noticed a I mean, it was very slow, but not only wasn't I able to lose them, I started to also just feel like I had a steady increase
Mm. Mhm.
to the point. I mean, I was still like my BMI was still 25, so it's still normal, but I felt like if I don't do something, it would just become worse with time, and
Mm.
like I just wanted to stop it early
Mm.
because I mean, it was basically coming from the fact that I didn't have a healthy relationship with food. So, um, yeah, that's the long answer.
Was there a particular moment that happened this last time where you just said, "Okay, like this is it. I've got to change."
Uh, I mean, there was. I mean, I don't remember exactly what. I think there was just a moment where I decided I'm not happy and that I want to. I think I also wanted to feel comfortable in my own skin. Like, I mean, I mean, now when I look back at my pictures from them, I, I see that I looked fine, but I was very not confident with these extra 20 something pounds. And I think I mean, also like, I think I just felt like I needed to do something to change my general mindset. But I don't, there wasn't like, I mean, there was a moment, but I don't remember. I don't remember exactly what happened. I think also it was just a moment where I decided I want to do something and I didn't set like it was not something I tried to do fast. I just decided it's going to happen and however long it takes, that I'm not going to be in a rush. But it wasn't like your moment that you know exactly.
Right. Okay. So, what are some challenges you still face?
I actually thought about that question because I heard you ask a few people that. I think like I guess I would say emotional eating is still a challenge. I mean, it has tremendously improved. Really, that was really. I mean, I feel like it's the biggest accomplishment I basically made out of this. Like, I no longer have these binges, and I mean, the current version of emotional eating is just, I mean, so I didn't say this, but right now it's during maintenance, especially. So I fast for 5 days and then the other 2 days, by now I still fast for at least 12 hours every day, but like the other 2 days are kind of days which I take off, like so that I can have family dinner and other things. But still, usually at one of the days, I mean, it still works within my current plan. Like I usually don't need more than these 2 days, but I mean, still sometimes I feel like I eat after dinner
Hmm.
just because I'm tired. Like I noticed that being tired is a big thing for me. So I guess that's still a challenge, and I think to myself that there are times where I'm just constantly tired. It would be hard for me, but maybe also accepting the fact that like it's never over,
Hmm.
especially as a woman, because let's say I'm thinking about getting pregnant the next few years, then I mean, I know I'm bound to gain weight again. And then, so I mean, accepting the fact that it's never is also a challenge.
And just to clarify, you said that you fast for 5 days. You were just saying you practice intermittent fasting for 5 days out of the week, and you're doing like at least a 12-hour fast, sometimes like a 16-8 or whatever. It's not a 5-day fast, and then
Ah,
you're. I
exactly.
wanted the listeners to make sure that they understood what you're saying.
No, I mean, I never tried to fast for more than, I never tried extended fasting. It's not
Okay.
really.
All right. So, what is one piece of advice you would give to somebody out there that they've got some weight to lose? What's one thing you would tell them?
Uh, so I think maybe mm, be compassionate towards yourself. And I mean, by showing yourself some love and compassion, you can also accept your failures along the way because they're bound to happen. Basically, be compassionate towards yourself and be patient.
Can you give us an example or kind of walk us through how does that look like? Because I think it's a great tip. Like, can you give us an example of that sometime that you kind of messed up and like what does that look like for you? How do you actually give yourself some compassion?
So I think it was mainly in the beginning, but it still happens now. For example, now if there's once every couple of weeks, if I'm having a tough week, like, and I feel like I need another day besides those 2 days that I don't fast, I understand that, and I give myself that extra day, and then the next week I'm back to normal. But I think especially in the beginning, I was struggling more, and I mean, I would still sometimes not stick to my plan, and like again, I would like I remember this one time which I had like a pretty big binge, and like instead of before where I was just disappointed and mad at myself, this time I was like, okay, I guess I needed it, and with time it'll just pass until I don't need it anymore.
Hmm.
And so I think it's basically like that. Like, or if it's too hard for you, then also making it a bit easier so it's something you can do that's also kind of being understanding and compassionate towards yourself.
Very good. Very good.
Basically like that.
Yeah, that's great. So do you have anything else that you'd like to share?
I think maybe I really like watching you and listening to you really helped me because I think I could also identify with some of the things that you said about your character that, I mean, I always feel like I need to, I think especially I remember one time that you said that if you have a plan that doesn't work for you, you feel the need to rebel. So I basically always had that with everything before. And I think now is the first time where I have enough freedom that I don't feel the need to rebel.
Excellent.
So basically, thanks.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you, Tamar, for being here, for sharing your story. I think a lot of people will find it very useful. So thank you.
Thanks to you too.
Weight loss doesn't have to be difficult. In fact, the easier you make it, the better off you're going to be. The courses inside my academy teach you how to lose weight sustainably and keep it off for good, while you continue to eat all the foods you love. If you have a lot of questions that you need answered, you can do so using the discussion feature inside each module. The lectures are short, simple, and to the point. And you can also take advantage of the office hours I have on Zoom. Each week you can drop in and get encouragement or just ask your questions there. And right now the price of the subscription is only $40 a month. Use the link in the show notes to enroll today.